So let's get into the hinge series. We did also the squat series day one, right? There is a concept, and we'll put out some literature and some diagrams on this once we get finalized with the leadership team. But the squat hinge continuum, right? And so what we mean by that is that there are some movements that have more flexion of the knee in the pattern, and some that have less flexion of the knee. Right? Think stiff leg deadlift, right? Kind of pure hinge, right? Or go belly hinge, right? Pure hinge, all the way over to say an air squat, right? Or cyclist squat if you want to get even more flexion of the knee, right, going on. So there's a continuum there, and there's movements that have a little bit less of that. Kind of sitting in the middle of that, it would be kind of a trap bar deadlift, right? It's a bit of where that hip joint is just directly in between the shoulder and the knee, right? Or maybe even a sumo deadlift is kind of in that center point of that continuum, okay? So what we're gonna be doing today is the hinge side of the continuum, starting with a plate RDL, but I'm gonna throw another one in there too, in the goat belly hinge, okay? The purpose of those two movements is to really teach the hinge pattern, right, in an individual. The reason why I like that goat belly hinge is because it gives neural feedback. Neural feedback of where you want the hips to move. So in a goat belly hinge, I have the bell into my belly button or slightly below it, right? It's right above my waistband of my pants, right? And I can then begin the movement and work on that position and work on what I need to be feeling, all right? So as it looks there, I'm unlocking my knees, I'm aggressively sending those hips back, and I'm nice and tightly engaged, and I squeeze through it, okay? To perform the movement. Feet are hip width apart. And so this neural feedback is where my hips need to be, right? It's put my mind what's moving, which is my hips. Whereas the plate RDL, now the plate set up, okay? And this is still a great movement, right? But now the neural feedback is up where?
Chest.
In my chest, right? And I'm wanting to improve this hinge pattern, right? So that neural feedback's not there. For that reason, that's why I look at the goat belly hinge as a more effective selection and exercise when you're teaching somebody to hinge, that somebody that doesn't hinge very well. And I'm sure y'all have seen that, right? They just don't quite know how to get those hips back, right?
Yeah.
And so if that's who you're dealing with, I would bring in that goat belly hinge and teach them it, okay? Additionally, the goat belly hinge also does what the plate RDL does, right? The value of the plate RDL is it'll teach somebody to get their shoulders back and down and squeeze those lats by taking those armpits and squeezing them. And so it organizes that upper back really well, and then they can perform the movement while keeping that max tension in the back as they're hinging through it. That's what's valuable about this, right? But with the goat belly hinge, it also does the same thing because you're having to grab on to those handles and squeeze in, okay? And so you're still able to keep that. If you get somebody to say, hey, keep driving into that bell with your hands, what's gonna happen? Their lats and the shoulders are gonna be pulled back and down, right? The entire time. So you wanna cue them, hey, give maximal tension, keep that max tension, keep squeezing as you're performing this movement, and then squeeze through it, okay? So the setup. One, I wanted to give you a global understanding of the two movements. Okay, so now let's get into it a little bit more granular. Feet are hip width apart. Okay, the setup on the goat belly, you're grabbing the object. Same thing with the plate. It's just different position. One's gonna be up towards the chest. The other one's gonna be in the hips. Okay. From there, the first thing we're doing is driving the shoulders down and squeezing that bell into the body. Trying to take a good cue would be take the kettlebell through your belly towards your spine. So I'm bringing it through. I'm under tension now. Okay, I'm ready to go. I'm braced even. Brace against the bell. That's a good turn. Sure. Yeah. Yeah, I'm in the setup right now. But yeah, in the setup now in the points of performance, I would say, yeah, drive your hips towards the wall. Yeah, set up now. Now we're in points of performance. So I'm set up well. Right? I'm worked. I'm under tension. Now I'm ready to perform the movement. Right? The cues for the points of performance is slightly unlock the knees and send the hips straight back while maintaining tension. Get to maximal tension in the hamstrings, really feel your hamstrings, and also slightly screw your feet into the ground so the knees are being driven out slightly. And then squeeze through with the glutes. Back to full extension with the hips. Squeeze the butt hard, okay? Without losing tension up top. So we don't want to Right? It's keep the tension up top, squeeze the glutes through. This tension should not stop. I'm not relaxed. I'm in tension. I'm braced still, shoulders still backing down, my lats are on. Right? So that's your gut belly hinge. Perform the reps, right? See how they do. Get them onto a wall. If a good cue is send your hips to the wall, well, good. Again, it's all about neural feedback. Well, get them on the wall. Right now, I'm getting close to the wall. Now that neural feedback's there, I can unlock the knees, send his back, touch it, squeeze up. I can inch away, unlock the knees. Send his back, can't quite touch without falling over. Okay, sneak back a little bit. Right, same thing. Trying to get there. Squeeze through. I got there.
If you squeeze your glutes at the top, will you not overextend your hips? Forward?
No.
Yeah. Like it's not possible.
Not possible if you're under tension up top and braced. If you're here, I can't go any further. If I loosen up.
Yeah. So that's where it happens.
Yeah.
I just see that before.
It happens because they're being disorganized up top.
Why does
Remain tension up top, and you can't go any further.
Yeah.
The body won't allow you to do
why
it.
is it a negative thing to overextend the hips?
Pressure on the back, lower back. You want lower back in most situations to remain neutral. Lower back's important. Now, when we're talking globally in the entire spine, the upper back can, and I'm going to get into that in the deadlift, it can actually have a lot of flexion. The low back cannot flex. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Lower back has to remain neutral. Can it flex and extend? Yes. Can it flex and extend like the upper thoracic? No. The upper thoracic has much more flexion and extension ability.
If someone has like excessive lordosis, how do you address that? Do you still allow them to hinge? Like now we're just,
Yeah, I mean, but obviously wisely with load.
yeah.
Maybe and then building them up from a goat belly hinge to some RDLs to some stiff leg deadlifts to, and working in dumbbells, in there, and then eventually graduating them to RDL or barbells. But you're thinking RDLs, stiff leg deadlifts, making sure that everything's just organized and they're moving well, and they're hinging well.
Yeah.
Before.
If it's just anatomical, like an older individual that just has that like hunch in the thoracic spine, Daryl.
Yeah.
It's like he's hinging. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like a pretty extreme hunch.
Yeah. I'm totally cool with it. As long as it's
Okay.
lower back. You have to look at the lower back. And if he can brace and keep his lower back engaged, because the way I'm going to teach two different ways of doing the deadlift, but I'm going to teach it in a way that may look wrong to you guys.
Okay.
Because my upper back's going to be excessively hunched over.
Cool.
But there's a purpose with it. So it can be. So
Okay.
again, as long as that lower back, as you're watching them hinge,
Yeah.
that lower back does not have any flexion. It remains intact. Flexion or extension.
Okay.
No movement in it. It's locked and loaded the
So
whole
it's
time.
flat.
Flat.
Okay.
Make sense?
Yeah. In the toe touch, like fault in Coach RX, that's like actually a fault, like a low back. It indicates like tight hamstrings.
Mm-hmm.
The back is super flat.
Mm-hmm.
So is the back supposed to be super flat?
Well, even with the back flat, the lower back, those L1 through 4
Uh-huh.
or 5, you can still touch your toes with that lower back being flat.
So why is that a fault?
When they're having to use it to get there, because their hamstrings aren't able to get there. They're not able to lengthen long enough to allow their lower back to stay neutral and still get. You do want to see what happens to their spine, but the flexion that happens in the spine should come from the T-spine,
Okay.
right?
Uh-huh.
Predominantly.
Okay.
If the hamstrings are locked up, then that lower back's
Oh,
gonna
I
have.
see.
They're gonna move that to try to get
I
there.
see. Okay. So it's more like it's parallel to the ground. The lower
Mhm.
back is parallel. That's what we don't want to necessarily see.
Parallel to the ground.
Yeah, the
Yeah. I
lower
mean,
back.
it could. Yeah. It can. Yeah.
Okay.
You would want to see it get slightly below parallel, below 90.
Gotcha.
Right, like if I do my toe touch, you can see it. I'll be like my lower back, right, is not flexing too bad,
Yeah.
right, if at all. Right, my upper back does,
Yeah.
right. I can really send it out. Right, but that's still pretty locked in. Right, but that T-spine, above that L5 onward, can move and does move.
Okay.
And we're gonna skip over the trap bar, but I'm gonna get into the deadlift, and here's why, because we're on this subject. So I'm gonna perform 2 deadlifts for you. I want you all to tell me which one you guys think is most efficient. Okay. I'm gonna do that one again. Okay. That's one. Here's the second one. One or two.
Wait, what
More
do you mean?
efficient?
What am I
Which
saying?
I feel like it's a tricky question though. I feel like
What's more
I
what?
want to say 2. Just
Which one do y'all think was better?
So you have much more leverage.
Okay.
Well,
I feel like-
I
because
would
I've
normally
seen
say
the second
one,
position
but
in,
it
like,
sounds like a
body-
trick question, so I'm gonna go for it.
Yeah.
But I see that with the
Go with what you think.
I would go with one.
one. Wait, efficiency.
Efficiency?
I don't. You're not exerting
I
much
don't know.
energy up top.
I would see it as the same way as somebody would have. You're pretty much lengthening your arms by about 2
Yeah.
to 3 inches, so that would equate to being efficient.
Okay.
With someone who has short arms.
Yeah. Good. Yeah. So
That
what?
makes sense.
So what I did. So
I just
so,
saw a video on that.
So number two is more efficient.
Yeah.
And it's just as safe, if not safer. Okay, because what I did, and it was I pretty rounded in my upper back.
Yeah.
You
Right.
did it before you went down.
Yeah.
You went like this. And then grabbed it.
And then I grabbed it. What I did, what that allowed me to do is to keep this joint, right, which is the main lever in the deadlift, and this joint, which is connecting the load to the body that's doing the work. What I did is I made a shorter path for that, a shorter connection, so that I could be stronger, be easier. So the idea, the concept is what's a more efficient way of me picking up that object? Let's just imagine that's 100 pounds. Is this better, right? Or is this better? Second one. All right, we'll pick stuff out here, right?
Yeah.
But in essence, when I'm going here and I'm gonna get my spine as long as I can get it, as neutral as I can get it, with that hinge position, this shoulder is now further out in front of the bar, right? You see that? Now, if I come in here and I'm hinged over and then I crunch a little bit, I get rounded a bit, now, where are my shoulders in relation to the bar?
Over the bar.
Is my lower back in any kind of danger?
No.
No.
Right. And I'm tight here. But my lower back is completely safe. And I'm driving my feet to the ground. I'm finishing with that glute drive.
Is there any possibility that at some point, let's say the weight was too heavy, and at some point you're about to leave that, and then you're like, pop, and pop up your lower back?
No. Not if I'm trained enough. And I'll tell you, like, I could probably today warm up and probably pull 465 with that second version, and probably barely pull 405 with the first version. But that's the efficiency, right? Like I could probably pull
So
four.
which one do we want to
260.
Well, yeah, would you?
Okay, now look, I don't.
Any of our people to the point.
I'm not creating
315.
chaos. I'm not creating chaos. What I'm doing is I'm sharing the idea of how to become most efficient in the deadlift, and then so you know where like the place to be able to ultimately go with somebody.
That would be like advanced.
Okay. Eventually, I'm giving you where to go. Okay. What I did is it's called a wedge in powerlifting. It's called wedging. I am braced. Number one, my feet are hip width apart. Let's go through the setup. Feet hip width apart. Shins are on the bar. Shoulders and fists. I pull my shoulders and fists down as far as I can. What does that do? Locks my shoulder blades back and down, and it turns on my lats as hard as they can possibly get. That's my lats are like lit up, and all I'm doing is I'm just driving my fist down to the bar. Then I hinge until I can't hinge no more. Right? Then I go ahead and turn it. I just drop it until I can reach it. Now I'm there. Now what do I do? A final little slack out of the bar. There's two things from here. This is the points of performance. Get the slack out. Wedge against the bar. In other words, safety fall. If I let go right now, I'm falling backwards. I allow my little toe to come up just a little bit to do that. Then when I'm ready, I grab the ground with my big toe and I fire. right? And that's your points of performance. Should we get people there? Yeah, why not? Yeah, we can get people there. Now, all right, so now let's stay in context. What I just showed you from a technique standpoint is the best way to lift maximal load one time. Okay, one time. Okay, is it the best way to do 10 of those reps inside of a mixed modal framework? Maybe not.
Okay, that was.
All right, so it's all context and it's all purpose. Like, what's
So
the
if you're
purpose?
doing like a max, you can do that.
Yeah, and power lifters lift this way. This is how, like, world-class power lifters teach it in that way. What I just told you, that's how world-class power lifters think about it. They get the wedge, they get slack out of the bar, they get the shoulders as close as they can to the bar by getting a little flexion in the upper spine. They remain so braced, and they take their big toe into the ground and they go. A lot of them will lose that big toe to kind of get that good fall back against the bar. And then that big toe going back into the ground is the gun going off, and they're like a sprinter. And that sprinter hears that gun, and it's like, boom, they're out the game. That's what's going on in a deadlifter's mind when they're on the world stage trying to pick up the maximum amount of weight they can. Okay, now context. Now going back and teaching people, can we teach it with that good hinge here, keeping that chest, shoulders pulled back, and keeping that upper thoracic spine there and locked engaged, and then teaching them how to break the bar in half and then push the feet in the ground? Yeah. All right, and then to send the hips back, keep the bar on the shins, don't leave the leg, and now they're repping it out. Yeah. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. All right? As long as it's light enough, and if they're trying to rep out, get multiple repetitions, then that can be an effective way of doing it. Does that make sense? Okay. Any thoughts or questions on that?
Do you recommend the mix?
Yeah, it depends. Yeah. Yeah, for like, I wouldn't recommend the mixed grip. It depends on if they relate. Sometimes, what's the purpose of the mixed grip is to really allow that shoulder to stay back and down and externally rotate. Right, which keeps that shoulder locked in more. Okay, and at heavy loads, sometimes it can slip out. It depends on individuals. I know world-class deadlifters that go double overhand. I know some that go mixed, so it's not like there's not certain advantage over one or the other. The purpose of the mixed grip is for that external rotation of the shoulder.
Is your shoulder in line with the bar or slightly?
It's at it.
It's at it.
As best I can. I want to stay right at it.
Okay. And you're
I don't want to be behind it.
Yeah.
Right. If I'm behind it, now the load is different. Right. It's kind of, now I'm in that idea of like out here.
Yeah.
Okay. Trying to pick up the weight. So
And
you want it right at it.
The bar is technically scraping your legs the whole time, up and down.
Mm-hmm. Up and down. Right. So as you guys are seeing people move, you might see this fault here, right? Right. You might see a lot of that one. And what's going on there is they're not braced. They're not keeping it all together as they're driving out. Okay. A good cue that I like to use there is to tell people to lift with their chest. And all I'm doing is what's happening neurologically, they're driving so hard with their hips and whoop, they come up, right? And then they finish. Right? So now I'm just taking their mind away from that and I'm putting it over here. The same idea of the neural feedback of the weight. The weight's here, I'm thinking it here. Right? The weight's here, I'm thinking it here. Now I just cue them, hey, lead with your chest. And now if I get them thinking, okay, I'm going to stand up my chest, more likely they're going to come together. Does that make sense? That's a good audible cue for people. Sometimes it could be you're over here, you put a PVC pipe on them, you let them deadlift and see how that thing rises up. And just say, hey, if you're coming up too fast here, I'm gonna put pressure here. Okay, I wouldn't do that with weight, by the way. Okay, but I'd get a training bar in their hand or a PVC pipe and say, hey, let's work on this. Let's get a good consistent drive, right? As they're working, and if you feel like they're doing this number, you're just putting pressure down so they start to learn it. Okay, and you get them some good quality reps. That's good. That's a good tactical idea. Okay, does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like Taylor, come on up here and do a deadlift, not on this bar, but with your PVC.
Can I try?
Right here. With this.
It's hard to do it without a weight. 45.
Well, I'm doing it for this
for this
particular concept. So I want you to go ahead and get in your setup position, get a nice tight grip on the bar, get mid-shin with it, get your good setup. Go ahead and bring your knees back a little bit for me. Good. Let the bar go down just slightly lower. Good. Okay. Now I'm gonna set this bar on your back. Is that cool?
Yes.
Okay. If you raise too fast, and what you're doing right now is you're raising too fast with your hips. If you do that, I'm just gonna put some pressure here. Okay. You feel that pressure?
Yes.
Okay. What you want to do is have this come up together. This joint and your hip joint come up together. Go ahead and perform the movement. Good. Not bad. Okay. Go back down for me. Okay. Do it again, and I want you to do the fault, which is bring it up this too fast. Okay. Ready? Go ahead. No. It's all right.
So bring my hips up.
Yeah, hips up first. Good. Okay, that's what you're doing. All right, go back into sub position. Pull your shoulders back over. Good. Okay. Now come up. If you come up too fast here, I'm gonna put some pressure. Okay. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put pressure now on both points. Okay. Push your knees back a little bit and let the bar go down mid-chin. Good. Okay. Good. Bring your hips up some. Good. You feel that? You feel tension in your hamstring?
Yeah.
Drive your knees out to your elbows. Good. Flatten your feet, grab the ground with the big toe. Good. Stay under tension, squeeze your lats as hard as you can. Good. Now when I say go, you're gonna go, and I'm gonna put pressure into both my hands. Go ahead, slow. Go. Alright, that would look fairly good. Y'all see that? That was pretty solid. Did you see it?
Yeah.
Did she come up at the same time? Same rate? She got the bar to the knee, then she opened up. But it was pretty almost right in there.
Nice, Taylor.
Okay.
I felt it in my quads too.
Right?
Is your hips are like kind of midway?
Yeah, it depends. So in the
And each
deadlift,
body will-
it's more of a hinge than it is a squat.
Yeah.
She was a little squatty, so I fixed her setup. Y'all notice her shin angle? Her shin angle. She had a bit of an angle on her shin. I just had her knees go back and lifted her hips up, got her shins a little bit more vertical.
So I need to push my hips back more.
Okay, yeah. In your deadlift, yeah, you were a little squatty in your deadlift. Okay.
Snatch deadlift.
Okay. Yeah, snatch deadlift is going to be more of a squat, more on the squat end of the continuum. When you're squatting, when you're cleaning, right, that's going to be on the more squat end of the continuum than the hinge. When you're doing a conventional deadlift, it's more on the hinge side of the continuum than the squat. Okay?
And then on the way down, you start like past the knees when you would start to
Yep, yep. When you start to lower the hips a bit.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. But that's a common fault. The other fault is she did that when I was trying to get her to do the other one. She did this number. That's a common one, right? How would y'all fix that one right there? Yeah, push into the ground. That's a good cue. Like, hey, push your feet into the ground, because that's what's going to happen when they do that. Right now, they're thinking pull and stand up with the bar. So think push into the ground. Push into the ground. What happens? Okay, that's a good audible cue. Again, you could use this tactile cue. Boom, get in there. You're going too hard here. Push down here. Lift more with the hips. Okay, take them super slow through it. Right. I want you to go 5 seconds coming up. Good, 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 good. Pause them here. Great. Now I want you to drive your hips to squeeze your butt hard to the bar. Right? Just slow it down with them. Get in there with them. Coach them up on it. Get them moving well with it.
Hand placement. Where you?
Yeah, hands are going to be outside the legs. Shoulder width apart. The big thing with the hands is that they don't interfere. You want them as close as to the legs as you can get them without interfering with your legs. Okay, so like if I'm too narrow, I'm in here. Some people might set up here, right? But I'm creating valgus knees, right? So they need to be in a position where they're as close as possible to your shoulders without interfering with their legs. For me, that'd be about right there. Okay, driving up to it. It'd be your hand setup. Yeah, I think I missed that one, but it's good. Okay. Now, faults with not keeping the bar close to the body. They're not keeping the back tight, right? Try to R&T stuff as much as possible, right? Good little R&T drills here. You take them into an upright. Have them tie a band here. Have them lock in the band about knee height here, right? And just have them walk away. And now perform that deadlift. What's forcing me to engage those lats? I'm out, right? I'm in there, I'm engaged, okay? And then I've got to perform this movement, right? Without that bar leaving my body, right? That's R&T, it's reactive neuromuscular training. I'm getting in there. Quick, easy, effective tool, right? To help somebody that bar tight to show them what it needs to feel like when they're on that bar. You need to feel that, okay? Another thing is you can get in there and try to steal the bar away from them. Hey, don't let me take the bar away from you. Go ahead, perform the movement, good, right? You could take this guy, okay? They don't have time, you know, you're kind of, you want to quickly perform this. They're in a light enough load to do it. That's what you're doing. They're deadlifting. They're in the setup, and all you're doing is creating tension and telling them, I'm gonna take this bar away from you the whole time. You prevent me. Don't engage. Okay, that's a quick, easy one that you could do right there on the floor very fast with somebody. Right? And imagine what this does. Right? You're over here doing something like this, and people over there seeing you coaching like that. Like, oh, this is great. You know,
I wanna try.
It looks coaching, right?
It looks good.
All right. So that's what the lats. All right. Let's say their knees. You see some motion in their knees. They're not solid in there. Right. Throw R&T around them here. Have them deadlift with this mini band on. So when you're in that setup, like get those knees out. Drive those knees out to your arms. Stay nice and tight as you're driving through. Quick and easy solution. R&T, in my opinion, superior. Neural feedback. It just teaches their body exactly where they need to be, what they need to be doing. You don't have to use audible. You just tactile cue, get them moving well, easily and quickly with some band work. Okay. Thoughts, question on the deadlift before we move on. A little homework for y'all is to practice the second setup I showed you. And see what it feels like for yourself.
Can we hear you coach that? Do you mind coaching that?
Yeah,
second setup?
sure. Does anybody want to pull 135?
I mean, I will, but.
You can do it. Alright. So what I want you to do is go ahead and adjust the bar, shins on the bar, feet shoulder hip width apart. Go ahead and get to where the shins are touching. Good. Okay. From there, I want you to brace your core, act like I'm punching you in your stomach. Good, hard. Good, and then take your fist and drive them down to the ground as hard as you can. As hard as you can. Good. Good. From there, I'm going to have you hinge. Go ahead and hinge until you can't hinge anymore. Good, and stop there. Good. Now I want you to drop your chest to the bar. Stay braced, but drop your chest to the bar. No, don't move your chest to the bar. Drop your chest to the bar. Good. Yeah, even more so.
Like
round
curl it in?
round it. Curl it in.
Like curl
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Oh,
Good,
okay.
good. Is she still good in her lower back? Yeah. Curl it more. Keep curling. Don't get out of it. Good. Now, from there.
Yeah.
Good. Now, stay there. Stay braced. Now I want you to get slack out of the bar.
It's hard not to draw.
Pull slack out of the bar. Good. Stay rounded. Nope. Go back. Go back. Good. Round out the chest a bit. Good. Stay there. Now squeeze your lats from that position. Now lean against the bar. Safety forward against the bar. Lean back. Don't change your position. Just lean back. Keep going. Pull the bar hard into you. Good. Stay braced, and whenever you're ready, go ahead and fire the devil. Squeeze. Good. And reset. It's close. It's not all the way where we want it. She could get more. More of the chest dropping. So when you hinge here, you're hinging here. Think about taking your chest to your heels, like literally your chest muscles down to your heels. That's where I want you. Good. It's always a little easier to come up top. Get set up top. Up top. Yeah,
What's
get
that mean?
legs organized here.
Like gift?
Then hinge. And stay tight. Good. Stay tight into it. Good. Tight core. Now break the bar in half and lean back as hard as you can.
Like a trustful.
Shift
Like
back,
in your
push
heels.
forward into the bar. Keep going, keep going, keep going. Good, keep going. Tight core, keep going. Yep, and whenever you're ready, go ahead and let. Good. And reset. It's not bad.
She didn't really have a.
Yeah, it's not. She can get better in it. Yeah, I'm trying to even get you even more in the thoracic. Yeah. So practice without the bar. Stand up. Just try to go through your points of performance. So here they are, right? They're going to be slightly screwed into the ground. They're going to be send the hips back till you feel your hamstrings.
Yeah, I just.
Keep pushing your knuckles to the ground so you're tight there. Now look here, and then just take your chest and try to get to your back heels. Don't lose anything else. And then go ahead and grab the bar. Now don't move. Keep sucking the bar tight into your body, and then trust fall back. Get the slack out of the bar and go. feels a little different, doesn't it?
No, it's weird.
Can I hear
Do you
it?
feel tight? Do you feel safe and tight and compact?
But I don't want to be in the video.
Does it feel light?
Can I try? But I don't
Yeah.
want to be in the video.
It's efficient.
Huh?
Can I try?
So give feedback there. What'd you think, Carly?
Yeah, I don't know. It's probably just hard to break old habits.
Yeah.
If you
Yeah,
like
it's
in